Good evening and welcome to this regular meeting of the Council of the Municipality of North Perth. Our meeting date is Monday, September 25th, 2023. I was tempted to say December 25th. That's not a good thing, but maybe that's an aspiration for Christmas to come soon. I'm Mayor Todd Kasenberg and I'll call the meeting to order. I ask the clerk to note our starting time for the minutes as 7 p.m. Is my microphone doing well tonight? I'm not hearing myself, and usually I do. Simon, can we validate? It's okay? All right, it wasn't clear on that. All right, a warm welcome is extended as always to councillors, staff, and delegations who will participate in this meeting, regardless of whether being physically in attendance in the council chamber in Listowel or being connected through web technologies. All of a sudden, I can hear myself. We begin tonight's meeting with the playing of O Canada. Those in chambers as able are invited to stand. We acknowledge that we are on the traditional land of the Anishinaabe peoples. We wish to recognize the long history of Indigenous peoples in Canada and show our respect to them today. We recognize their stewardship of the land. May we all live with respect on this land and live in peace and friendship. Tonight's meeting is being streamed live on the Municipality of North Perth YouTube channel and will be available there after this meeting as an archived video. To those viewing this meeting via the YouTube channel, a warm welcome is extended to you. To those present in the gallery today, by attending a public meeting of the council, you are consenting to your image, voice, and comments being recorded. Anyone who is invited to speak will be recorded, and their voice, image, and comments will form part of the live stream. The chair and or the clerk have the discretion and authority at any time to direct the termination or interruption of live streaming. Such direction will only be given in exceptional circumstances when deemed relevant. Circumstances may include instances where the content of debate is considered misleading, defamatory, or potentially inappropriate to be published. Attendees are advised that they may be subject to legal action if their actions result in inappropriate and or unacceptable behavior and or comments. Thank you. This time I invite your decorum over the course of the coming meeting. You can see we are all in our seats in the council chamber. Let us move to item 2.1 of our agenda pertaining to pecuniary interest. For the benefit of those unfamiliar with our council practices, provincial legislation requires councillors with a potential pecuniary or financial interest in any item at the council table to declare this interest and to remove her or himself from discussions and voting on the item. In accordance with recommended protocol at this time, I invite all councillors with a perceived pecuniary interest, including those who have already declared in writing, to verbally advise the chair in public session and to submit documentation, if not already done, to the clerk. Councillors are further reminded that should a potential conflict arise during the meeting, they may so declare and act at any point in the meeting. Ahead of this meeting, I heard from Councillor Blazek, so I'll call on her at this time.
Thank you, Mayor. I would like to declare pecuniary interest for item 5.7.2 because my family and I live in the area immediately impacted, and subsequently 13.1.
Thank you, Councillor Blazek. Any other councillors wishing to make a declaration at this time? Seeing none, let's just review the general rules of procedure here. All participants are invited to speak when called upon by yours truly, serving as chair. Those participating remotely who wish to speak may draw attention through the clerk and the conferencing technologies chat function. Remote participants are asked generally to maintain a mute state in the web conference until I recognize right to the floor. If when I do so recognize I don't hear you because you are muted or are having some technical difficulty, I will advise and try to send Simon. Let us now focus on the people's business. I invite those in the chamber to silence and put away their phones. And of course, I again invite decorum. Regarding item 2.2 of our agenda, I have a motion before me for the adoption of the agenda for tonight's meeting that reads as follows, that the agenda for tonight's meeting be approved. Can I call for a mover? Councillor Johnston, I saw you twitching there. Councillor Nordum will be our seconder. Any discussion or debate? Seeing none, let's have that vote.
I'm in favor. You're doing a update.
We're waiting to see the vote here, is it? All right, thank you. We'll move to a manual vote. All those in favor? Any opposed? And that's carried. Thank you. Let's move on then to item 3 on our agenda, the so-called consent agenda. Consent items are placed on our agenda because they are believed to be non-contentious, yet they may warrant council's recognition and or action. Grouping them expedites our business. However, any councillor wishing to extract an item from the consent agenda for discussion, debate, and or individual action may do so. There are 10 items on the consent agenda tonight, including the minutes of our last regular council meeting. Councillors, anything to extract here or any corrections to be made to the minutes? I'm not seeing any indication of that, so I have a motion for our consideration to receive 10 items and approve minutes as follows. The consent items 3.1 to 3.10 be received for information, and the minutes of the September 18th, 2023 regular council meeting be adopted. Can I call for a mover on this one? Councillor Rothwell, thank you. And Councillor Anstett will be our seconder. Any discussion or debate? Seeing none, let's see if eScribe is not alive and with us at this hour. It is. There we go. Let's have that vote.
In favor.
And Councillor Nordum is in favor, making that unanimous, and that is carried. Thank you. Let's move forward then. We have 2 delegations tonight. I remind delegates of the usual mandate. We allow 10 minutes per delegation, and that is to include the presentation and something of a question period which may follow. First, we are joined by members of the Economic Development Team from the County of Perth who wish to provide Council with an update on activities and, of course, answer questions. With us are Maggie Kerr, who's the Transit Project Coordinator, and Justin Diaz, who's the Economic Development Officer for the County of Perth. Welcome to both of you. The floor is yours. You have to press a button to make that shine green on the microphone. And there you go. You're ready.
Excellent. Thank you, Your Worship. So through the Mayor, pleased to bring our second and biennial update to North Perth Council. Before we start, I'd like to bring regrets from Meredith Frechette, our manager, and Ashley Lansink, our tourism officer, who are both currently at Queen's Park for the annual Tourism Industry Association of Ontario annual day at Queen's Park. So bring regrets on their behalf, but we're going to deliver a fulsome update that includes some tourism items as well as economic development items. So next slide. So before we get into each kind of individual areas within our division, economic development, tourism, and transportation, I just wanted to highlight a couple of events that were conducted over the summertime in partnership with community partners. So the first was our Full House Tour, which was held on June 15th. So this Full House Tour had 52 participants, and really it was an opportunity to showcase a variety of housing types across Perth County, just to show what's possible in terms of residential, gentle density, multi-res, apartments, townhouses, and the like. So it was a very successful event. We were able to, again, have 52 participants tour the sites, have an opportunity to ask questions of our planning staff, of the developers themselves, as well as other staff from the county. So a very successful event. In a post-event, and then I should say we did gather after the tour in West Perth for a social opportunity, and it was all done under the guise of a poker tour to really add an element of fun to the education. So a very well-received event, and a post-event survey found that 100% of participants found the tour either very or extremely informative. So I think that the testament to what was done that evening and the opportunity that it was for folks to expose themselves to what's available and what's possible within Perth County. The second event was our Perth County Mystery Farm Hops. This was held on July 8th in partnership with the Perth County Federation of Agriculture. So this event was the opportunity for 144 participants to board a PC Connect bus and be taken on a tour across 4 Perth County farms. The event was very well received. Had an opportunity to expose folks to what happens on the farm, and really highlight the strength of the agriculture community that is Perth County. So within 24 hours, like I said, of launching the event with no real advertising at all, the event completely sold out to our delight and surprise. And one of the key things that was uncovered through this event was the real cross-cultural learning experience that it turned out to be. So we had a really diverse group of people participate from various ethnic, cultural, and socioeconomic backgrounds, and they had an opportunity again to hop on a bus for free. It was a low and no barrier event. Tour around the county, visit 4 farms, have an opportunity to meet the farm owners, experience what there is to offer in terms of agricultural experiences here in Perth County, and really just give them an exposure to what happens here in Perth County. So again, a really strong cross-cultural experience. Opportunity to expose folks with different backgrounds to what happens here in Perth County. And on the screen is just one quote that we received from one of the participants who really speaks to how the event was a diverse and inclusive event, opportunity for folks to gain an exposure to the culture of agriculture here in Perth County, and for their children, really an opportunity to help them identify with the other folks in their class. So a really strong event and very well received, and we look forward to doing more events like this in the future. So jumping into the economic development specific updates, so I'll start with Digital Service Squad. So this is our fully funded human resource position, Digital Service Squad team members who exist to support any business across Perth County with their digital needs, from website, social media, and really anything to help a business get online, stay online, sell online, and be more effective online. So we have this person in place, or this team in place, till March 31st, 2024. To date, we've served over 50 businesses. This past summer, especially during the last few weeks, been really promoting the upcoming grant deadline for the digital transformation grant, a $2,500 grant that businesses can apply to. So we've seen 9 businesses already be successful with that grant, and look forward to helping a number more businesses complete those last final stages to be hopefully successful applicants. So again, the grant is closing on September 30th, and I'd like to draw folks' attention to that, but also wanted to draw attention to the fact that our Digital Service Squad team will be in place until March 31st, 2024. So please do reach out and allow our team to help support you. The second thing I wanted to highlight from our economic development is our business retention expansion program. So this is really the heart of what we do in economic development, working with our existing businesses and helping them stay, grow, and thrive here in Perth County. So this summer we had a very successful business tours season. We had 5 business tours that we conducted across Perth County, including the video you're seeing here was from Benshaw Canada Controls right here in Listowel. The tours had 75 participants engaged, stakeholders from business, government, chambers, council, staff from across our divisions. And we have 3 more tours in the works for 2023, so look forward to coming back to North Perth with another exciting business tour in the fall. And as you'll see, the videos are a really great opportunity to showcase to those folks who weren't on the tour the kind of industry, careers, and opportunities that exist right here in Perth County. So another couple of components of our business retention expansion program is, and also a direct outcome of our business tours, was we heard loud and clear from our business community that they really appreciated opportunities to continue to network. Much of that networking had been lost or over the pandemic. So this business industry and education after hours events that we held last week in Mitchell and holding again in Listowel on October the 4th are really an opportunity to foster that business retention expansion by bringing together all the various community partners who exist within Perth County to support businesses. So the businesses themselves, our education partners, local high schools, co-ops, apprenticeships, training providers, Ministry of Economic Development, Job Creation and Trade, OMAFRA, the county, of course, and any of the community partner staff for Perth Center for Business. So really an opportunity to bring those folks together, including in North Perth, we're partnering with the Chamber to promote some of those connections that, again, were either lost or not being able to form during the pandemic. We know there's lots of new people in key leadership across our industry, so creating those connections will only help support business retention and expansion efforts. And then finally, on the business retention and expansion front is our 2023 Business Retention Expansion Survey, which is mailed out through Canada Post to all of the agricultural and business locations across Perth County. This survey is not like other surveys in terms of that we've done before, not a sample survey to find out kind of larger economic pictures or macroeconomic trends in Perth County, but really focused in on individual business responses. So what are the issues that are challenging you as a business in Perth County, and allowing us as a county to respond with the resources that are needed to support that individual business. So really a conversation starter, allowing us to bring partners, whether it be funders, provincial government, or others that can help resolve those business issues. So if you've received one of these surveys, I would encourage you to fill it out, encourage your neighbors to fill it out. If you are more inclined to fill it out online, there is an opportunity to do so. And each of the business survey packages that went out included a business reply envelope. So try to make it as easy as possible for business to complete that, get that back to us so that we can start having a conversation about how we can support individual business needs. And then finally, from me, I just want to touch briefly on the workforce part of our economic development program, which is obviously a key portion of supporting businesses and helping them with workforce. To that end, we launched our Workforce Attraction and Retention Employer Toolkit at the beginning of the summer. To date, we've had over 75 users who've registered for access. This toolkit is really bridging the gap for particularly small and medium businesses, providing best practices on retention and attraction from across the province and across Canada, and providing employers with downloadable tools, templates, policies that they can use, download, and adapt for their own business. So really trying to alleviate barriers to particularly our small and medium businesses to taking a best practice that maybe they've heard about and implementing that within their own business to help attract and retain that talent that's so needed. So we've had great uptake so far from local businesses as well as other municipalities. And to that end, we've actually been asked to present. I'll be presenting on Wednesday to the OMAFRA Community Practice with Toolkit, as well as later on in October to the Ontario Workforce Development Conference. There's lots of interest in this as a best practice as well, and looking to share the toolkit again with local employers, but also more broadly across the province. So that's it for me. I'm going to pass things over to Maggie to talk tourism and transportation.
Awesome. Thank you. Here's the next slide. Through your worship, good evening, everyone, and thank you again for your time this evening. As Justin mentioned, Ashley is away this evening at Queen's Park, lobbying on behalf of the tourism industry and our businesses here in Perth County. So I am pleased to bring greetings and an update on the tourism events on her behalf. So, Perth County's experiential tourism program is now up to 14 active signature experiences, 3 of which were newly launched throughout summer 2023. We're very excited to share a new signature experience located here in North Perth, is in the works, and is slated to officially launch through the program in 2024. The growth of this program is a great testament to just how much there is to experience in Perth County, and it's a key element in our efforts to increase the number of visitors coming to our rural region each year. In the same spirit, our Discover More Flavor Farm Gate map has grown to 85 participating farm locations. These farms are promoted through our updated digital farm gate map, themed farm gate adventure itineraries, new roadside signage, print media, social media coverage, and beyond. It was a busy summer engaging with Perth County destinations and tourism operations, with over 114 visits to businesses across the county to distribute promotional material, collect marketing content, hear from business owners, and so much more. We also continue to grow cycle tourism in our rural region with the launch of a new cycle route map, enhanced cycle web pages, strategic partnerships with local cycle events, and trail support efforts. To date, we've distributed over 3,200 copies of the Stratford, Perth County, and St. Mary's cycle route map that launched earlier this spring. The map has proved to be very popular, with many cyclists requesting copies of the hard copy map. To encourage the use of digital cycle route map assets, we've also enhanced all of our signature routes rides with GPS maps to include stops along the way. These are also available in printable, itinerary-style PDFs on our website. These efforts fall under key direction number 3, locate and add amenities, services, and signage for cyclists, and key direction number 4, to increase the promotion of cycle tourism in Perth County from Perth County's cycle tourism strategy. As the official destination marketing organization for Perth County, we continue to market Perth County as a top travel destination in Ontario. We do this through a wide variety of marketing channels throughout the year, with notable efforts throughout 2023, including widespread coverage on the Ontario Culinary website and social media pages, a feature in the CBC London Summer Road Trip series, substantial coverage in the Globe and Mail's Explore Ontario Summer and Fall Edition inserts, distribution of tourism, promotional posters and brochures throughout the region, and website enhancements, including the development of a brand new bakery trail featuring 12 Perth County businesses. Social media sorry about that. Our video stopped playing, but bear with me, please. So social media marketing has proven to be a very effective way to attract visitors and promote Perth County's rural tourism destinations. The tourism social media channels saw substantial growth in our following, reach, and engagement throughout 2023. In addition to our own in-house content creation, these increases are also owed to strategic influencer partnerships. Staff have recently received very positive feedback on the ROI from featured Perth County businesses and destinations on these partnerships. The video that was playing in front of you is a great example of this. This video was created in partnership with Curated KW, who is a digital content creator with pages on Instagram and TikTok. The video they created here in North Perth at Cadillac Sunflower Field in Atwood has received over 354,000 views. This year, the destination had its busiest season yet, and the owner had asked each guest whether they heard about the Sunflower Field Walk. She reported back to us that more visitors than not had heard about it through this video, proving the real economic impact strategic social media marketing can have on our local business community. Now we'll shift gears to PC Connect. And I know that you just recently received an update from my colleague, Mike Mosley from the City of Stratford, so I will keep this update quite brief. Just as maybe a refresher of how PC Connect is laid out, the municipality of North Perth does have 2 separate partnerships in terms of PC Connect. So one with the City of Stratford and the town of St. Mary's, which funds routes 1, 2, and 3. And Route 1 goes from Listowel down Highway 86 to Elmira and Kitchener-Waterloo. And then our other partnership is with Perth County and the member municipalities. And that partnership is for our rural Route A, which services North Perth and many of the rural destinations from here to Stratford. So PC Connect continues to grow in terms of reach and ridership, continuing to alleviate transportation barriers that previously stood between our residents getting to work, healthcare, education, social services, visiting friends and family, and so much more. Since launch, PC Connect has serviced over 24,000 rides, and in the last 12 months, our ridership has grown by 105% compared to the previous 12 months. In order to contribute to this growth, we did recently implement significant route enhancements, which included the termination of our Route B. So as you may be aware, in June, our County Council approved the recommendation to terminate Route B due to extremely low ridership since date. And as a result of eliminating this route, we were able to repurpose those service hours and increase service where there is demand for public transit. So we've added increased frequency on our rural Route A, which now operates continuously from 6 a.m. to 7:15 p.m. Monday to Friday, making the service even more convenient and appealing for riders to leverage. And this is the route that does travel through North Perth, so we're really excited to see that, as Listowel is one of our main pickup and drop-off location for our PC Connect service. So our new service changes have been heavily advertised through a series of channels, such as social media, app notifications, newsletters, posters, radio interviews and ads, newspapers, community connections and newsletters through North Perth, digital screens and billboards, postcard distribution, and so much more. So far, the changes have been very well received, and we're looking forward to continue to monitor the ridership on our rural route over the next few months as we monitor how these changes reflect on our ridership. On June 7th, we also launched our partnership with the PCIN to offer free library passes. And since launch, just under 3 months ago, a total of 551 rides have been completed with the passes. So we're extremely pleased with the success of these passes, which have proven to further alleviate the barriers for leveraging public transportation in our communities. So just a bit of a background on the PC Connect passes. They are available at all 7 of our branches, so Listowel, Atwood, and Moncton here in North Perth. And any resident with a library pass can go to the library and rent out a PC Connect pass and ride as much as they need within their 3 to 4 day loan period. And finally, we have been working on a new marketing campaign that highlights the stories of our PC Connect riders and how they leverage the service in their daily lives. So the purpose of this campaign is to encourage riders to try PC Connect, as well as emphasize the demand for the service and use them as advocating tools for long-term funding. So the People of PC Connect campaign will launch later this fall, and I do have a quick sneak peek to share with you all this evening.
Getting to class used to be a daily struggle for me, but then I found out about PC Connect. My ride to a better future. No more long walks, no more missed buses. With PC Connect, my journey is my study time. PC Connect isn't just a bus line, it's my path to education, my ride to success.
So in addition to the education storyline, our series will also include healthcare, employment, and connecting riders to family and friends. And we're really excited to be able to tell the stories of our riders on behalf of our riders in efforts to keep the service on the road for the long term. So please stay tuned on the launch of that campaign. And with that, our biannual update report is before you this evening, and Justin and I welcome any questions that council may have for us this evening. Thank you.
All right. Thank you very much, Mr. Diaz, Ms. Kerr. Questions, colleagues? We'll keep it brief. Okay, Deputy Mayor Kellum.
Yes, thank you through you, Mayor Caseberg, and thank you, Maggie, Justin, for your presentation. Just one question with regards to the PCIN route passes. So they sign them out like a normal library card and say it's for 2 to 3 days. Once that expired, they can just reapply again, or is there a limit to how many times they can ride the bus?
Sure, great question. So through your worship, at this time, there isn't a limit. The program was rolled out as a pilot program just to see the demand. So there will be changes coming into effect as we evaluate that. But as of right now, there is a sign-up wait list, and it has been in very high demand. So we haven't been seeing that riders are continuously checking it out and kind of abusing the system. So it is getting circulated across many users to be able to trial the system. But in theory, yes, you could continuously rent it out at this time. But again, we're hoping to improve that in the near future.
Anyone else? Councillor Andreessen?
Thank you, through you, Mayor Kasenberg, and thank you to Maggie and Justin for your presentation this evening. I'd like to offer just a small suggestion that perhaps you could think about in the years ahead with PC Connect. One of the things to consider would be to have transportation to Kitchener-Waterloo Airport. It's a very convenient airport that offers international travel now, and people who are using it for business purposes, that kind of thing, it could be really beneficial and help cut back on traffic on Highway 86 as well. So I don't know if you've thought about that, but I know it can't be done with the snap of a finger, but perhaps something to consider in the future.
Yes, thank you for that. I would be a #1 user of that, so I'll definitely
Okay, thank you. Anyone else? Okay, thank you for attending tonight and bringing the update. The video looks pretty slick. I hope the rest of them have equal possibilities. Look forward to seeing them more. Thanks.
Thank you so much.
All right. Next up then is Mr. Byman. He intends to address council about a subdivision that he's working towards on owned land in Trowbridge. Mr. Byman, welcome.
I'm John Byman. Hang on, John.
Yes, thank you. I just live south of Trowbridge, and we lived there for about already for 35 years. And excuse me, I'm a little nervous. I don't speak that often in front of a delegate crowd like you guys. But what I want to do, yes, I want to talk about the draft plan of the subdivision in Trowbridge first. And I want to read an email Scott Patterson, my planner, sent me this morning for a little bit of update. How far are we with it? So let me read this. The application draft plan and zoning has been submitted since July 2022, initially delayed due to a request on archaeological study, which was completed and submitted last fall 2022. Then delayed to discuss stormwater management, and some come up with an acceptable solution. Solution was found to provide a stormwater facility on the east side of the property lots in the field area. The sewage management facility would be developed by us and conveyed to the town for ownership. I believe the issue was resolved in January 23, as I sent a letter to the county planner asking for them to revise the settlement boundary for Trowbridge to accommodate this future. That never has happened. Then delayed further to have a hydrogeological study peer review. It is in my understanding that the peer review consultant and our consultant came to an agreement in June. 16 lots would still be proposed, and they would be developed on tertiary septic system. Application was switched over from Susanna Reed to Jerica Gilbert during this time. Jerica has now left county, and I have not been advised who is responsible for this file. Maybe now Andrea Hackler, what just came in office now, but I don't know her at all. So the application has still not been deemed complete and have not processed. I don't know if they have circulated any external agencies such as the conservation authorities, etc. I have been engaging with Chris Schnell for weeks, and he has noted that he was discussing this meeting with the new manager of planning for the county. Meeting was to have occurred last Wednesday. I have not seen any update from him since then or received anything from the county planner in months. The application should have been demand completed months ago, even last year, and these issues worked on comprehensively. One topic seems to be dealt with at a time, and then something new comes up. I still need to go to council with the recommendation report and then to county council. The zoning will require a public meeting. There is absolutely no reason this should be taking this long. I have no other applications with the town or county and have proceeded in this delayed and hazardous manner. This is not the way how our project should be progressing. I even sent an email to Todd, our mayor, and I have had no response. I asked the council here if we can proceed in this matter and if we can do this in a little bit quicker way than the last 3 years that we're working on it. So that's the first topic. Should I proceed to, anybody has any questions, or should I proceed to the next topic? Okay, well, I proceed to the next thing, and that's proposal of our new house on our own property in Trowbridge. We have been requiring about the ability to build a new house on lands we own just outside of Trowbridge for the last 20, where we lived for the last 25 years. I was advised that it was still being determined whether an environmental impact study would be required. The Conservation Authority waived the requirement, but county staff still requested. Archaeological study is required, just done for the subdivision. Why do we need a second one? Again, county planning and town staff have gone dormant on this. It was being discussed that they were going to close Patrick Street in this area and convey it back to us. I am not aware where that currently stands. Closing the roadway would have an impact on the zone change, so the application has yet to be filed. Don't know where we stand. I have asked if they want to meet or what I can do to progress in this multiple occasions. Patrick Street was in the Trowbridge development for years, and it was taken out about 5 years ago without even letting us know. Patrick Street is now just a piece of land what divides our own farmland from the 4 acres where we want to build our house to what belongs to Northford. The neighbors of Patrick Street have built a 5x5 foot little storage shed for firewood on this property for what I consider is just garbage. The old house and the trailer, what are there, should be bulldozed flat, and this piece of land is full of weeds and not kept up by nobody, not the township, not the owners there, nobody, so it's a kind of eyesore for us. I asked Northport to sell it to us that we can clean up and put the road into our new home. Our succession planning came to an halt, and we are very frustrated with this situation because we are waiting already for over 3 years that something would happen. So I asked the council here if they can look into it and proceed with what we want to do there. Thank you for your attention.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Byman. Colleagues, questions for Mr. Byman? Anything? Councillor Andreessen.
Thank you, through you, Mayor Kasenberg. Regarding the number of issues raised by Mr. Byman, is this primarily a county issue versus a lower tier issue? if perhaps someone could clarify that for me, because I'm just not sure. Thank you.
All right, let's redirect to CAO Snell. CAO Snell, did you want to offer comment here?
Thank you. Thank you, Mayor. Primarily, the subdivision application is a county application and handled by county staff. The second, dealing with the roadway, we are working with our legal counsel as directed by council to look at how we unbundle that and potentially sell that to Mr. Byman as directed. But it is a bit of a legal challenge because of some of the things Mr. Byman mentioned with other people having property on the road allowance and just clearing up the road allowance so we do it properly.
Okay. Anyone else with questions? All right. Councillor Norton.
Thanks to you, Mayor Kiesenberg. That property that you're talking about that was run down and weeds and all that, is that privately owned or is that
Owned by the municipality. It used to be all in the subdivision planning for whole Trowbridge, and it was taken out about 4 or 5 years ago without even letting us know anything about it. And we actually bought the property with knowing there was an extra subdivision to be built, and this road was road allowance to the property where we want to build. And now it's just a piece of land what the township kept. All the rest was surveyed back to us as farmer, what was in the subdivision area and everything. But that was conveyed back to us, except for this little piece of Patrick Street, what still belongs to North Perth County.
Thank you very much.
Okay. CAO Snell, did you want to comment on that suggestion there?
I'm certainly not the municipal solicitor, but I understand that subdivision was registered, I believe, 1897. It's been on the books since then, so all those road allowances are unopened, but have been on the land registry since that time, and no development plan has ever come forward, to my knowledge, to open them until this proposal to look at selling part of them off.
I think the question is that this road allowance, like if it's owned by us, it's not being maintained according to Mr. Byman. Did you want to comment on this?
So it's we have many similar road allowances in the municipality that were part of the original survey lot layout for several hamlets and villages. They are basically not open, they're not a road, or they're not acting like a road. And lots of farmers farm them, for example. It's certainly not the only municipality in Ontario with this issue. So they're unopened road allowances that could be deemed or used for a road if a subdivision application was brought forward by a development applicant. I can certainly have our lawyer do a full memo to the council if that's council's desire.
Okay. Councillor Duncan.
Thank you, through you, Mayor. I wonder if the proper course of action here is to maybe ask staff to bring back a report to let us know where Mr. Byman's applications at the county are. They can confer with county planning staff and maybe bring back a small report on the road allowance and the situation where we're at to update all of council.
I'm looking around the table. I think that seems like it's a wise call. So is that the will of council? Shall we consider a resolution then directing staff to this end to prepare a report? I suspect that Councillor Duncan is prepared to move. Same. Councillor Rothwell is our seconder. Thank you. Any discussion or debate about this one? So, Clerk Klein, you've got generally what we intend here, which is, as Councillor Duncan described. Councillor Rothwell, go ahead.
Thank you, Mayor, and for you, thank you, Mr. Byman, for your presentation this evening.
Thank you, Mayor Todd. Thank you, John, for your presentation. I certainly sense the frustration of Mr. Byman here in this application, and clearly whether it's our staff here locally or whether it's county staff, I think it's crucial that we understand service is important. Application fees have been paid and discussions have happened, and there should be an ongoing discussion in terms of where things are in that process. So I certainly concur with the suggestion that there needs to be a report on this, but also if through our CAO we could have conversation not only with our local staff but with county staff to ensure that ongoing dialogue happens with applicants so that they know who is responsible for their application and when the anticipated time for meetings come forward. There's an important time in our process here now in our community for housing. And if a planned subdivision is going to happen to create some 16 new lots, whether they're affordable or not, there's still lots that are going to be required within our community, and I think it's important that we understand the necessity to get those going as soon as possible for their review. Thank you.
Okay. I'm hesitant to offer any judgment at this point with regards to the role of both North Perth and Perth County staff in this until we see a report. I think the report will help clarify what has happened with this process for you, Mr. Byman. So any other colleagues wishing to speak before we consider the motion? Okay, I'm not seeing any. Let's have the vote, if we can, Clerk Klein. Okay, we're getting some technology problems. So Councillor Andreessen registers in favor. Councillor Rothwell, with that, that is carried. Mr. Byman, we'll see what we can do for you.
Well, it would be nice to speed it up a little bit. It's a long waiting time already for it. And
certainly.
It's very nerve-wracking when you don't know where to stand and when nobody gets back to you. And so it would be nice when this would soon happen. Thank you.
Great, thanks. This report, I think, will shed some light into what's going on. All right, that means we are finished with our delegations at this hour. We move to section 5 of our agenda. This is pertaining to reports. Sir, I see you're waving your hand in the back, but we don't allow people to walk into council meetings and speak without being on the agenda. And so we cannot receive you unless you file an appropriate form with the clerk over here if you wish to be heard by this council. Really, that's how our municipal democracy works.
That's how you work this municipality.
That is how every municipality works.
My father would kick you right in the face.
All right, order. Your comments were threatening, and I'm going to ask you.
I was going to.
Nevertheless, I'm going to ask you to exit the chamber at this hour.
Well, I would just like to be heard.
That's not going to happen tonight. So you can file a petition to be heard in due course, but that's not going to happen because we have an agenda that we work from, which was approved. That's how it works.
I cannot be heard about my municipality.
You can be heard.
Walk into the council chambers and be heard.
I'm not going to engage you any longer than to repeat what I said before, which is you can be heard by filing a request with the clerk and having that duly considered in time to be placed on the agenda of this council. Now,
Clerk Duncan, can you help me out here?
The mayor runs the meeting, so no, I can't.
No, he's just a referee, according to him.
So I'm asking you to exit the chamber at this point.
Wow.
All right. I will ask one more time, and then
Well, you know what? Doesn't matter. Leave, but you know what? You absolutely destroyed Trowbridge and destroyed that road, and it is horrible. So, I'll leave.
Thank you.
Matt, I will talk to you later.
We move forward. All right, colleagues, we turn to agenda item number 5, which is reports from departments and key staff. Tonight we have no reports from the following departments: CAO, Strategic Initiatives, Corporate Services, Programs, Facilities, and Environmental Services, which leaves poor Mr. Couch as being our report purveyor at this hour. Let's turn our attention then to his items that are on the agenda. I need to flip through a few pages here. And item 5.7.1 invites council to dispose of a walkway in Gowanstown to residents that neighbor it. I'll invite Mr. Couch to say a few words.
Thank you, Mayor Kaisenberg, members of council. Good evening. This item has moved forward to a sale of the Gowanstown Trail property, which has been discussed through closed session in council. In front of you is a recommendation to move forward with that and support a bylaw that would allow the splitting of the trail to the 2 neighboring residents. The survey has been conducted and paid for by the residents. Legal fees are being coordinated through the municipality. There is a benefit to the municipality long-term. Repairs to the fence and repairs to the trail are needed now, but if this transaction happens, those costs won't be incurred. The only amendment I have is that the bylaw reads that legal and survey costs are included by the residents. It should only read survey costs. So we'll strike legal from paragraph number 1, and then it would be in front of you for endorsement.
Thank you, Mr. Couch. Any questions or comments from council at this point? Councillor Nordham, let me get your microphone.
Thanks to you, Mayor Kaisenberg. I'm just curious, does North Perth own the trail behind the Wallace Public School?
Mr. Snell is nodding that he'd like to speak here, I think. Go ahead.
Yes, we do own the trail behind the public school, but this leads just into the public school property. So this trail is not connected to the walking trail.
So if ever the trail was to be extended, could this be a potential connection?
We'd have to look at the geography of that. I think it's landlocked by some private residences right now in terms of access. You might have to get across some private property to access. Are you talking from the school property itself? Otherwise, they can take Lincoln Court right down and across to access the trail, and I believe that's what people do now.
Yeah.
Okay, so CO Snell, if you're going to speak, grab the microphone. You're walking away from the AV technology that we need here.
So I could demonstrate from council. When we first purchased the former Wallace school from the school board and then resold it, we kept this portion of the former railway bed. So it's quite a distance we would need either to acquire more land from the school property or private landowners to get to a connection to the former railway land that we do own. And right now, we kind of purchased that preemptively, hoping in the future that we could reconnect that trail to something else. But because right now it really is not being used as a trail because it doesn't go anywhere. But our hopes was to acquire more of the trail through Wallace Township in the future.
Okay, does that help, Councillor Newton? Okay, thank you. Anyone else with questions or comments? Okay, I'm not seeing any. So I have 2 resolutions for us on this matter. The first is that the Council of the Municipality of North Perth passes bylaw number 114-2023 regarding the sale of the Gowanstown Lincoln Street walkway. Can I call for a mover on this? Councillor Blazek, thank you, and Deputy Mayor Callum is our seconder. Any discussion or debate on that one? Councillor Nordham.
I'm just a little nervous if we sell this property that we will regret it later on if we ever do make connections, because I'm very certain it would be a lot more expensive to make another entryway into that trail if ever we were to make a connection to, say, Palmerston or something like that from the old railway bed.
Mr. Couch.
Just as added information, I know I've been talking to the Parks Department about enhancing the parking along the roadway and expanding that area so that there is a parking facility available for people to have direct access to the trail, because there isn't one there now, and that's right off the main road. In terms of access and parking and accessibility, that is an option that's being looked at, and we're looking at developing that. That was in the capital program for this year. So that is an option that's happening. The local residents do walk down to the roadway, the highway, and we're looking at widenings there possibly at that parking area to make it a bit safer, but that's typically used now.
Okay, anyone else with comments? All right, seeing none, it's duly moved and seconded. Let's have that vote. And that is carried. Thank you. Next is the bylaw pertaining to this, as follows, that bylaw number 114-2023, being a bylaw to authorize the sale of lands, be introduced, read, and considered read a first, second, and third time, and be finally passed, and that the said bylaw be signed by the mayor and the clerk and sealed with the seal of the corporation. Can I call for a mover on this? Councillor Anstett, thank you. Seconded by Councillor Richardson. Any discussion or debate? Yes, let's turn to Councillor Richardson first.
Thank you, through you, Mayor Kaysenberg. Just wondering, Mr. Couch, that I'm assuming that all affected residents for this work that's going to happen overnight will be individually notified that this is actually going to happen on what particular day?
That's a good point. I've been coordinating with the adjacent neighbors only.
That's what I meant, in the direct vicinity of where they could be affected by the excessive noise going on with the construction.
Oh, sorry.
We're still considering the bylaw, actually, for the matter in Gowanstown.
I'm sorry, I sort of wondered why the report didn't come in, so why I'll bring that up next time.
That's good.
He's getting ahead. Mr. Rothwell.
Thank you, Mayor Todd. Can we just clarify on both item 1 and item 2 in the draft bylaw, it is saying $1 plus applicable taxes and survey legal costs per the agreement of purchase and sale. I believe in Mr. Couch's comments, we talked that legal should be deleted. They're paying survey costs, as I understand. They're not paying any legal costs. Is that correct?
Yes, that's correct.
So further, if that's the case, I'm just going to suggest that the word legal in both clause 1 and clause 2 be deleted in the draft bylaw. Because it's not a survey legal cost, it's a survey cost. That's just for clarification.
In the bylaw that I have, it doesn't say legal. And the one that's on the screen doesn't say legal either. It looks like it has been already edited for us to take care of that. Clerk Klein is grabbing her microphone, so let's go there.
Yes, dear Mr. Mayor, the bylaw has already been updated after consultation with Mr. Couch.
Thank you very much. I'm using my iPad and it wasn't at that time. Thank you.
All right, thank you. Anyone else on this one, the bylaw? All right, seeing none, let's have that vote. And that is carried. Thank you. Next up is item 5.7.2. Please, clerk, note that Councillor Blazek has exited the chamber. Council is invited to provide an exemption for the North Perth noise bylaw to allow certain construction works to happen on one upcoming evening over a window of time that has been asked for by the construction company for Elm Street project. Mr. Couch, anything to add here to Councillor Richardson's favorite topic?
Thank you. Yes, I do have an addition. The construction has been moved to a window of October 2nd to October 13th, depending on weather conditions and the rental of actual temporary signals. So if we could just modify the dates to read October 2nd to October 13th from what was previously written, the 26th to the 6th.
Okay.
And yes, actually, notification will be provided for all neighbors. Notification will be provided for all the adjacent neighbors.
Right. Thank you. Any other questions or comments on this one before we consider the resolution? Seeing none, let's go. That the Council of the Municipality of North Perth provides an exemption to noise bylaw number 32-AD-2001 under Section 5A for 1 weeknight between October 2nd and October 13th, 2023 for Moorfield Construction to conduct work on the Elm Street reconstruction project. Can I call for mover? Councillor Johnston, thank you. Seconded by Councillor Richardson. Did I see you kind of gently wave your hand there? Seconded? Very good. Moved and seconded. Any discussion or debate? Seeing, Councillor Rothwell, you almost got me.
Almost. Thank you, Mayor Todd. Just further, is the expectation that staff or someone's going to speak to those in the affected area in terms of if the decision is to approve this? Or is it just expected that the public are going to be aware of this as it goes on? I'm just want to make sure that if council agrees that the people in the neighbors are going to understand why work is continuing on. I suspect they'll appreciate it if they're told. Thank you.
Mr. Couch.
We're providing a written notice for the adjacent neighbors, and we're going to post it on social media as well, because the social media is needed for all the drivers that'll be impacted that night as well. So social media, and then hand delivered to adjacent neighbors by written notice.
Thank you. Okay. All right. Anything further on this one? All right. Now let's have that vote. And that is carried. Thank you. Councillor Anstead, thank you for welcoming Councillor Blazek back to the chamber. All right. Let's move forward then to item 5.8, Reports and Development and Protective Services Department, and we don't have a report here this evening at this meeting. That brings us to item 6, which is opportunity for reports to be asked of either staff or of the committees that serve North Perth. Anyone wishing to call for a staff report or a committee report? I'm not seeing any indication of that under item 6. Let's move on to item 7. We do not have any items of correspondence beyond that shared in the consent agenda for Council's disposition. Further, we don't have any additional bylaws for our deliberation tonight as item 8. That brings us to item 9 on our agenda. We do have a notice of motion that was delivered at the last meeting of Council, prepared by Councillor Andreessen for consideration tonight. Let me read this motion into the record as proper procedure. Whereas the current speed limit within the village limits of Kurtzville on Perth Line 88 is 60 kilometers per hour, and vehicles are speeding through the village over 80 kilometers per hour. And whereas Perth Line 88 in Kurtzville is a heavily traveled road with traffic moving to and from cottage areas to the north, and this road also services local businesses with truck traffic as well. And whereas residents in the village of Kurtzville are very concerned for the safety of young children with traffic moving at speeds of over 80 kilometers per hour through the village. And whereas residents in the village of Kurtzville are requesting a reduction in the speed limit to 40 kilometers per hour on Perth Line 88 in the town village of Kurtzville. And whereas additional traffic calming elements should also be considered, including the installation of electronic signs that reveal traffic speed, now, therefore, be it resolved, North Perth Council should advocate by making a request to Perth County Council for a speed limit change to 40 kilometers per hour in the village of Kurtzville. This is moved by Councillor Andreessen by default. Can I call for a seconder? Councillor Blazek, thank you. All right, this is on the floor. Colleagues, questions or comments? Councillor Andreessen, did you wish to take the opportunity to speak to this first?
Thank you. Through you, Mayor Kaysenberg. I just want to let you know that both Councillor Nordum and I have received comments from residents in Kurtzville based on their concerns about speed on that highway in Kurtzville. A lot of new families have moved into that area with young children, and continue to have these concerns due to the speed of traffic flowing through that road. As mentioned in there, the current speed limit is 60 kilometers per hour, and they're witnessing speeds up to and over 80 kilometers an hour going through there. This area services businesses, agricultural companies, and residential areas, and also flows through north to our cottage areas. So it's a busy road that goes through Kurtzville. I think it would be helpful to have these changes to support our residents of this village. And I think that it would be helpful for, of course, this would have to go to the county level as it is a county road. And for this council to support this change, it would be very helpful. Recently, driving through Kurtzville, I did notice some speed signs, electronic speed signs there already. However, there could perhaps be additional traffic calming devices used in that area as well. And that the electronic sign that's there at the moment is not, it's temporary, it's not permanent. So it's something for our Perth County Transportation Department to consider when this goes through. Thank you.
All right, thank you, Councillor Andreessen. I see Councillor Blazek's hand up. Go ahead.
In conversation with North Perth OPP officers, this is not really a policing issue because it's very difficult for them to enforce traffic infractions that are 20 kilometers are less than 20 kilometers over the speed limit because it actually costs the municipality more money to write and enforce those tickets. And so speed limits of 50 kilometers an hour means that they have to be going above 70 in a community before they can easily be enforced by our local OPP. So I would support reducing this road or the speed limit here. Probably others in our community need to be looked at as well.
Thank you. Councillor Duncan is next. Go ahead.
Considering Councillor Blazek's information there, maybe we should request that it becomes a community safety zone as well.
Okay. Do you want to elaborate, just for the sake of all of us being on the same page, what that means?
So when you put a community safety zone sign up, the fines are increased substantially for the tickets that are written in those zones. So it'd be something we could request of the county to look into putting a community safety zone in through there.
Okay, so the county could act as well on that item as a possible suggestion. Anyone else want to weigh in on this one? Councillor Nordum, I see you sort of waving your hand.
Thanks to you, Mayor Kiesenberg. I, along with Councillor Andreessen, have been getting quite a few complaints about the speed in Kurtzville. Although I'd more support the motion at 50 over 40. I find 40 for a highway, yeah. I would very much support it at 50, and many people I've talked to would be fine with 50 over 40, but that's my opinion.
Okay, anyone else wishing to weigh in on this? Councillor Richardson next, and then Councillor Johnston. Let me get your microphone. There we go.
Thank you, and through you again, I tend to agree with Councillor Nordum that possibly 50 would be better, but join that 50 with the community safety zone to give that charge a little more teeth to do that. I certainly understand and driven through Kurtzville many times, but I think from an 80 to a 40 is, I think, a substantial drop. That 50 would be more in line with the other regional roads, like the other roads that we have within urban areas within North Perth. That I'd be quite supportive of a 50 and as well as a community safety zone.
Okay, thank you. Councillor Johnston next.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Question about a community safety zone. Do we need a school, or is the recreation facility there in the parkland, would that qualify? Chris, is there qualifications that it takes to have a community safety zone? I know most of them
are near schools.
Okay, so staff is conferring. Mr. Couch, it might be you that's responding. That's what I'm seeing.
I'd have to research that, but there are circumstances such as schools, hospitals, and different areas that qualify. We looked at it for expanding into different areas, but right now it's mainly in the school areas and playgrounds. We can find that out, or I can defer to the county and get the information to them as well for that.
Okay, thank you. If I could, I do have concerns over dropping it to 40, and part of it is the precedent that we would be setting, that then if this is passed, then the residents of Britain are going to be here next, and the residents of Wallaceville, and the residents of Nuri and Donegal are all going to be asking for 40s. And some of those are roads and some of those are county roads, but I'm just worried about the precedent that we'd be setting here. And I don't know if it's enforceable. I can honestly say I've seen the police in Kurtzville. I've been pulled over by the police in Kurtzville. I wasn't speeding. I didn't get a ticket. I had a nice visit with a police officer, but so I have grave concerns over asking them to drop it to 40, because I just think of the precedent that we'll be setting, that it will be municipality wide then asking for 40s.
Okay, thank you, Councillor Rothwell.
Thank you, Mayor Todd, and thank you, Councillor Andreessen, for bringing this motion forward. If we think back to the process that we talked about, administrative monetary penalty systems, we were dealing with both stop arm cameras, but also administrative monetary policy systems deal with automated speed enforcement. Councillor Blazek raised an important part, our police, and we've talked about this before. Our police cannot be everywhere. And our speed limits are enforced by our police. And if the police are not there, and whether it's 40 or whether it's 20 or whether it's 50, frankly, it doesn't matter. If the speed is not being enforced, Joe and Jane Public will drive by at whatever speed they're driving and they're gone. There is no penalty for driving too fast through the community. So while I support in principle what is being proposed, I also would suggest that 50 may be an appropriate number as opposed to 40. But I also agree with Councillor Duncan and others that if it can be done, the community safety zone would probably help us. But clearly the administrative monetary penalty system, at least in my mind, is a way to use technology to enforce speed limits for the safety of our residents when, frankly, our police can't be there. And I think that's a more important issue from a long-term perspective as opposed to simply changing the speed limit and hoping and knowing that it would be enforced when the police are there. Thank you.
Okay, anyone else? Deputy Mayor Kellum?
Yes, thank you. Through you, Mayor Caseberg, and I agree with Councillor Rothwell as well, and also Councillor Johnson's comments. I think we're setting a precedent here. I think if we, Mayor Todd, you and myself, we bring this to the police board as we sit on it, we can give some direction here, maybe with more signs as well, but I am not in favor on reducing the speed there. Thank you.
Okay, so I'm hearing some thought amongst colleagues that perhaps the number 40 isn't the right number. Does someone wish to propose an amendment to the resolution to revise it to 50? Okay, Councillor Nordholm, you'd like to move a resolution that amends the original resolution to add the speed limit of 50 instead of 40, and to explore the possibility and advocate, if feasible, for a community safety zone to be applied.
Yes, that would be done.
All right, so Councillor Nordholm is our mover. Is there a seconder for this one? Councillor Duncan will move that. All right, so discussion or debate on 50 and community safety zone. Anyone wishing to comment on this resolution? It will amend the original resolution. No, I'm not seeing any indication. So everyone understands what we're doing. We're voting on an amendment to the original resolution that would change the number to 50 from 40, and that would add another clause about exploring and, if feasible, petitioning the county to add a community safety zone through that corridor. Everyone got it? Not the final resolution yet, just the amendment. All right. Last chance for comments. Let's have that vote. Okay, so that's carried. So the resolution, now we're back to looking at the original resolution with its change. So its change was 50 kilometers per hour instead of 40, and the additional clause in the now be it resolved, which would petition the county, given feasibility, and that needs to be explored, to establish a community safety zone through the corridor. Everyone understand where we are? This is the real decision now, right? Here we go. Clerk, you're with us? Let's have that vote. And that is carried. So this council has indicated that it will ask staff to communicate with the county, and one is about a question, feasibility. Mr. Couch, maybe you've already solved that problem while we're sitting here talking about it. And the other is to petition the county for a 50 kilometer per hour zone through the corridor of Kurtzville. All right, let's move forward. Thank you. Item 10 on our agenda. For item 10.1, are there any announcements that would be of benefit to our community or that reflect well on North Perth at this time? Anyone? Councillor Johnston.
A quick 4-H update again. The Perth County team that will be representing our county at the Royal Winter Fair with the Canadian Dairy Championships is pleased to have 3 North Perth residents or North Perth kids on it. Justin Walker and Jordan Hawthorne representing the Listwell Dairy Club, and Seth Johnston representing the Atwood Dairy Club. So we'll have 3 out of the 8 members from North Perth.
That is always exciting news to have excellence representing us. Thank you. Anyone else with announcements that are of benefit to the community? All right, seeing none, that means we can move to item 11 on our agenda. We have no matters for consideration in a closed session meeting of council tonight. That means item 12 gets really easy. We have nothing to report since we didn't hold a closed session meeting tonight. Council, as a mandated good practice, acts near the end of its meeting agenda to confirm all of its actions and business of its meeting through what is called the confirmatory bylaw. Please note in the minutes that Councillor Blazek has stepped out of the room. For item 13.1, I have the draft of the confirmatory bylaw and its enablement resolution as follows. That bylaw number 115-2023, being a bylaw to confirm generally previous actions of the council of the municipality of North Perth, be introduced, read, and considered read a first, second, and third time, and be finally passed, and said bylaw be signed by the mayor and the clerk and sealed with the seal of the corporation. Can I call for a mover? Deputy Mayor Kellum will move, seconded by Councillor Richardson. Any discussion or debate? Seeing none, let's have that vote. And that is carried. Thank you. And Councillor Anstett, thank you for drawing Councillor Blazek's attention back to the room. And that means, colleagues, that we have completed the deliberation and taken action on the business that has come before us tonight. It is thus appropriate for us to consider adjournment. I have a motion to adjourn as follows. The council meeting adjourns at 8:19 p.m. to meet again for a special council meeting on Wednesday, September 27th, this week at 7 p.m. Can I call for a move? Councillor Rothwell and Councillor Richardson will be our seconder. It's not a debatable motion, so let's have that vote. And that is carried. Colleagues, that means that we are about to adjourn here. Our next regular meeting is October 2nd, but don't forget Wednesday night. There's a training opportunity on that evening. Until that time, this council is adjourned.